bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn. I'm going to be crafting live, and we are going to be continuing the Christmas in July file folder album. This is a full series. Hello. Wow, my goodness. Could you just tell that people were having fun without you? Could you just sense it? Okay, so yeah, hi Marcel. What was I? So Marcel is here. He wasn't here until literally I went live. It's so funny. So anyway, I have my glove on because my side of my hand here where I have an old injury is really hurting me, bothering me right now. And then I have all these band-aids because I have not been keeping up with my, hey buddy, hey, keeping my cuticles hydrated, and I'm dealing with some hangnails and stuff, and I need to get back on my nail maintenance game, so, hey. So anyway, Marcel will let you know how that goes. All right, so what we're doing now is we're working on the back of file folder 3, and what we accomplished is we got it matted. We still have to figure out the flap, but we got the bulk, this matted. We need to work on these inserts, and then we've got this as an insert. We need to back that with something, and we're going to use these as well. So that's what we're working on, and of course we have to mat all the inserts. So first things first is I want to think about what I want to do to like kind of tie these two pieces together, 2 pages together. And one of the things I thought about was maybe using something like this, where that's like a nice little scene, but then I felt like these 2 boxes were too close together. So I also thought about this part of it because it's just lots of really cool ornaments, or this part of it because it's also just cool ornaments. So maybe cutting this up. I did pull this paper out earlier that I could use, but I don't think I like it anymore. Not that I don't like it anymore, but I don't like it for this page anymore. So yeah. And then the other page I printed this afternoon is this one, which is the mirror image of how it looks. This is the mirror. I flipped it, you know, this way. Normally the blue is on the right edge. You can maybe see that the writing is backwards. And one of the things I thought of was maybe this little section for right there. So I think we can kind of figure some things out. So maybe we'll use this. Oh, what? What's wrong, sir? Okay. Let's just not worry about it. Okay, so this is 3 1/4 by 6 1/4 is the size we need to make it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scrap piece of cardstock. There's a maniac in my room. And what I'm going to do is cut a 3 1/4 by 6 1/4 hole in this cardstock. So I don't know if you can hear him, but he definitely has the zoomies. Hello. What's going on with you? Huh? There's a deranged kitten in my room. All right, so the reason I made this frame is because then I can take this and figure out, you know, what do I like better? Do I like this better? Do I like this better? Do I like this better? This better? I think this is it right here. So once I kind of know what I want it to be, then I can take a pencil and just mark it out so that when I go to my big trimmer, I know where to make my cuts. Okay? All right. We got a zoomer. What's up, sir? How are things in your neck of the woods? Yeah? Can you hear him being a weirdo? Hey, are you being weird? Do you know why you're being weird? Or are you just weird for no reason? What are you breaking? You sound like you're breaking stuff, huh? Hi. Hi, buddy. Hi. 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 Hi, hi, hi. Oh, hi. Okay. Okay, so. Oh! All right. Okay. So we've got. Let's take a look at how that looks right there. Okay, so that's actually really beautiful. Really lovely. And it doesn't really need anything else, but I'm thinking about am I doing too much with something like this? I don't think that's going to add anything. I really don't. I don't think it is. Okay, so this one is just 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So what I'm going to do is, where's the other sheet that oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm just going to temporarily kind of like where to frame it. Yeah, right there. So we need to cut off the very edge of the cupcake, and I think we'll be in good shape. So Marcel, Davian asked if we needed anything from the store, and I said, do they make kitten Valium? No. Hello again. Did you know that it's hard when you're standing on the paper to line it up to cut it? Did you know that? Oh, you did know that. Okay, well, I wasn't sure. So you are trying to be a problem. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good. I don't know if I got it exactly to 3 1/4. All right. He is named after Marcel the Shell with shoes on. And if you go on YouTube and you just type in Marcel the Shell with shoes on, you can see the trailer to the movie Marcel the Shell with shoes on, and maybe some of the original shorts that the movie is based on if they're still available. All right, so yeah, that's who Marcel is named after. And Marcel has one eye. Marcel the Shell has one eye. So that's part of it. But also, it's just Marcel is a cute movie. Candy says, I was telling my family the weird name you call your new cat, and my grandson instantly said, oh, Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Yeah. Your grandson knows what's cool and hip in the world. So yeah, so that's but he's Marcel for short, because Marcel the Shell with shoes on is kind of long to say, and he's not even responding to Marcel yet. So Marcel the Shell with shoes on will be his veterinary name, his show name, if you will. But yeah, he is named after Marcel the Shell with shoes on. I think he's gone downstairs, so we may be in for some quiet time. We may be in for some quiet time. We shall see. Okay. He and Kitty were playing earlier, and he took a flying leap and jumped on her side like a trampoline, and we were all like, oh, you're gonna die, Marcel, but she was fine with it. She was fine with it. So things are pretty chill with Kitty. I mean, we were like, Marcel, don't do that again. You don't want to press your luck, you know. But he recognized that just instinctively. So he knew. And then this afternoon, he wanted to go under the bed that Tiny Cat was sleeping under. But she just looked at him. And then he was like, yeah, I'm out. So he's learning his limits with her as well. So she was just like, I don't think so, sir. Not today. That's not what I'm about to tolerate. All right, so I'm just looking for a pattern paper for the back of this. I really want to use my orange somehow. So but let's maybe we'll use Meowie Christmas. Maybe Meowie Christmas. Or Love Will Keep Us Warm. Baby, it's cold outside. What to do? I don't think we're going to make the orange happen, though. I'm going to do Love Will Keep Us Warm and probably the pink glitter. Pink glitter. Okay, so I'm going to do Meowie Christmas, and I'm just going to, I'll glue it to the pink glitter and then use tape to stick them down. So I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Thank you for joining me this fine Thursday. This is Thursday, September 8th. This is the first of the evening shows. Hopefully in this episode, we will get this page totally finished. Good evening to everyone. Hello to Kathryn and Bev, Ella. How are you? I hope you're all doing well and not too hot. I myself am boiling. But that's just how it goes when you live in a subtropical climate. All right, so I'm gonna ink the pink glitter paper. And Yeah, it goes beyond the pink glitter paper, but it won't go beyond the red background, so I won't need to back it with cardstock or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this with liquid glue because it is an irregular shape, and then we'll go from there. Hello to Melanie and Gretchen. Good evening, everyone. All right, so now we'll just go ahead and tape this. I'm reading a book right now called Stolen Focus about what it means for you and your attention span to be living in the, quote unquote, attention economy. And are there any solutions, and what are the causes and things of that nature? So it's been interesting so far. A lot of it's stuff that, if you have any interest in this topic, you'll have heard before, but a lot of it is completely new, to me at least. So, like the big tech stuff I'm familiar with, but he talks about, I've learned some stuff about the brain and how the brain works that is fascinating, particularly about the flow state. And I actually might read the book Flow. And then also sleep and the different kinds of sleep and falling asleep and what's happening when you're sleeping and what not sleeping enough for your body does to your hormones and attention and all of that ability to pay attention to things and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot in the book. There's a lot in the book. There's like 100 pages of footnotes at the end of the book. So like 100 pages of the book are just footnotes to the research. So, but it's interesting. I'm only about 40% of the way through it, so I don't know if there's any solutions. We are still breaking down the problems at this point. So, okay. All right. So we've got all the matting done that we're going to do. So now it's time to move on to the inserts. And I'm going to go ahead and start with these inserts because I do know, what I want to do with them. Tell you an interesting new thing you've learned from the book, please. So one of the things that I thought was very interesting in the book so far is that there is a difference cognitively between your mind wandering and ruminating, and one of those is good and productive for the brain, and the other one is not. So mind wandering is actually a critical function of the brain and way the brain thinks. When they studied mind wandering in mathematicians, for example, they found that they made their greatest breakthroughs when their minds were wandering. And so when you are laser focused on a problem and all you think about is that problem, you're blocking out like connections to that. So allowing your mind to wander will allow your brain to make connections between things in the past, things in the present, that sort of thing. And so solutions to problems may come to you. So especially mathematicians and scientists talk about how, you know, they can obsessively think about a problem for years, and then the solution will come to them when they're sitting on a train looking out the window, not thinking about anything. But because the brain is never not thinking about anything, that's actually what the scientists discovered. And they discovered it when they invented the PET machine, because they noticed that when they were hooking people up to the PET machine for trials, that their brains were doing things, even when they weren't thinking about anything, really. They were just sitting in those machines. Hey, buddy. Nice to see you again. It's been a while. And so once they had seen that, that's when they decided they wanted to start really thinking about, like, studying mind wandering. So, you know how they talk about, Candy says, that's why I found bugs in programs while I was sleeping. Yes, and in fact, really important critical work is done while you're sleeping with stuff like this, and forging connections and things of that nature. And so that's why there's a whole section on sleep in the book, and the importance of sleep, and how, like, your ability to focus and your ability to be good at your job or whatever degrades so quickly when you don't get enough sleep. It's really shocking. Like, it's like just being awake for 19 hours is the same cognitive impairment as being like 0.05 blood alcohol. Marcel is back in the recycling bin. He's trying to find, he found us a gift, everyone. He's taking it downstairs though. So yeah, this mind wandering and the sleep and getting enough sleep are like huge drivers of lack of attention, not allowing your mind to wander. And one of the ways that you can your mind cannot wander is if you're engaged in rumination. And so rumination is, the way they described it, is when you're like in a thought loop, thinking about something obsessively. So there's spotlighting, which is when you're on purpose thinking about a problem. So like back to the mathematician example, you're the mathematician, you're trying to solve n equals n2 or whatever, p equals np or whatever it is, that unsolvable math problem. So you're trying to solve the unsolvable math problem. Spotlighting would be deliberately thinking about the math problem and its solution. Mind wandering would be allowing your mind to drift, and not directing your thoughts, allowing your thoughts to just be what your thoughts want to be. And then ruminating would be if you cannot stop thinking about something. So ruminating would be obsessively returning over and over again to like something negative that happened to you earlier that day and just going over it again and again in your mind. Or if you're stressed about something that might happen in the future, just constantly working that over and over and over in your mind. That would be ruminating. So ruminating is like the enemy of mind wandering. That's kind of the different states. But they talk about the different states of the brain. They talk about with sleep, and this is fascinating, something they call local sleep, which is if you're chronically sleep deprived, your brain will shut off half the brain or part of the brain and just stop sending energy to that part of the brain. And you will be effectively asleep in that section of your brain. And that section of your brain cannot do any of the functions that it's assigned. So you can literally be at work, working with your eyes open and asleep, because your brain can be asleep in pieces, not just in whole parts. You don't have to be unconscious for your brain to be asleep, and they call that local sleep. And that's one of the things they talked about is that's why people who take sleeping pills are more likely to die of like every cause of death that there is than people who don't. And a huge part of it is because they said the type of sleep that you get when you're on a sleeping pill is more like a local sleep. Like only your brain's only performing some of the things that it should be doing while it's asleep. It's not doing all of the things that it should be doing while you're asleep. So you're still sleep deprived in other parts of your brain. And so you're in a state of chronic sleep deprivation. Which is why doctors are not supposed to prescribe them for any length of time, and they're supposed to be just like a short-term solution to a problem. And so, like, those two sections were the sections I think I found the most interesting, were the flow section and the sleep section. But I'm only 40% of the way through the book or so. So he's in Silicon Valley now talking about tech. So, of course, obviously media, and particularly tech and social media, are huge detractors of attention as well. But yeah, the flow state stuff is, like I said, very interesting to the point where I do think I just want to read the book Flow, which is just all about the research that was done on the flow state. And there's a related book, Thinking Fast and Slow, that's about the difference between, I think, spotlighting and flow states and how you can put yourself into flow states. Which is this kind of... but the other thing that they found with research into flow states is people who go into flow states more often have better cognition and better attention and are generally more relaxed than people who don't. And one of the things they were talking about is a way to enter a flow state and also a flow and allow your mind to wander is reading a book. And they talked about how, even though it might sound like counterintuitive for your mind to be wandering while reading a book, they're talking about how your mind has to wander when you're reading a book, because one of the things you're doing when you're reading a book is first of all, you have to create the whole world. You have to imagine everything. That is an activity of your brain. That's part one. And then another part is, one thing you're doing is you're constantly comparing the experiences of the people in the book to your own experiences and their history to your history and your knowledge of their history, their time period they're living in, whatever. So your brain is extremely active, and your brain is engaged in more than just reading the words. And so that kind of deep focus. They talked about watching a movie is a way, but not watching a TV show, because even if you're marathoning the TV show, there's something about the breaks in between the episodes where you cannot get into a flow state. Painting or any kind of creative thing you're doing with your hands, going on a walk, but usually it's when you're challenging yourself in some way. So creativity is, is an example that they were giving, because, when you're engaged in creative activities, that you are challenging yourself. So, I don't know. There's a lot in here. I feel like I'm learning a lot, and it's one of the things I think that it's doing is showing me things that I want to learn more about, as well. So, okay. I'm going to use the 1/8 inch hole punch on this, and then we'll ink the edges. The book is called Stolen Focus, and it's by Johann, Johannn, Hari, Hari. And its actual title is something much longer than Stolen Focus, but Stolen Focus is the part that I remember. So, but it's something like Why You Can't Think and How to Get Your Brain Back, or something like that. It's why you can't pay attention and how to do it. What was another example of flow state? Rock climbing was an example of a flow state. But yeah, it varies from person to person what's going to be the best way to enter a flow state, because it's going to depend on what you're into, what excites you, what can hold your interest, that sort of thing. And all of this is predicated on you not being interrupted. So I think that's why the TV shows don't work, is because you are being interrupted, because you're being interrupted by the credits, the recaps, switching between the episodes, that kind of thing. It has to go on for a certain amount of time And of course, things like meditation and yoga, there's a lot of different ways to achieve flow, but the kind of the driver, the gist of it seems to be that you are thinking without thinking. Like you yourself are not engaged in the act of thinking. You are engaged in some other act. But whatever act you're engaged in allows your mind to be thinking freely. So you're not directing your thoughts. And you have to be keeping yourself busy. You know, well, probably because if you're not busy, it's going to be harder for you to refrain from directing your thoughts. That's probably why that's a critical element. That's the kind of thing I mean when I say that I'm interested in reading more about that by reading the books about flow, because I do like think that that's interesting, and I want to learn more about that, just that specifically. That I don't know. Like, I don't know how different that is from listening to music, for example. Because listening to, like, I know listening to music, listening to wordless music, like classical type music is one thing, but listening to music with words is another, in terms of getting in and staying in flow states. So I think it would just depend. My guess is it's probably a distraction. And what they talked about is how the prefrontal cortex has a function of filtering out information that you don't need. So like, you know how sometimes you get so into what you're doing that maybe you don't hear someone trying to talk to you? That would be an example of your prefrontal cortex not filtering properly and filtering too much. But because you're not supposed to hear every sound, because if you hear every sound, that's extremely distracting. Like, you don't need to hear every sound. You know? So, your brain is constantly not serving your conscious mind information. Or the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that's responsible for determining what you do and do not need to know in any given moment, which is just fascinating in and of itself. I found that extremely interesting, that there's a part of the brain that has a job to not present your conscious mind with information, because you can't, there's only so much information you can process at once. And I think that's a huge part of, you know, his ultimate point is there's only so much information you can process at once, and the world is asking you, like, is constantly demanding your attention. And so one of the things they talk about is how the prefrontal cortex can get overwhelmed by notifications, like your phone buzzing or dinging or whatever. Like, there can just be too much going on, you know, and that when there's too much going on, it just overwhelms that part of the brain, and it gets weaker at filtering. It actually gets worse at filtering the more information it has to take in. And worse at deciding what you do and do not need to know. And it takes longer and longer for you every time you switch your attention from thing A to thing B to get back to doing thing A. And then sleep plays a part of it. So one of the things when he's tying everything together is he's talking about how when people are not sleep deprived and someone asks them a question, it usually takes them about 0.25 seconds to understand the question and formulate an answer, assuming they know the answer to the question. Okay, so when you're sleep deprived, it takes 4 seconds. That is so much longer. That's crazy. That's a huge difference. A huge difference. And so he was like, when you're multitasking, he said, that's not possible. Multitasking is rapid switching. You're not doing A and B at the same time. Your brain can't do that. Your brain can do A or your brain can do B. This is for two tasks that require your cognition, right? So obviously there can be tasks you can be engaged in two things that don't both require the same level of cognition or the same type of thing. So an example would be listening to a podcast while you're going on a walk. You can listen to a podcast while you're walking. That is a thing that you can do. You know, like, you know how to, you can walk and listen to something at the same time. He's not talking about that. He's talking about, you can't write your document and answer emails at the same time. You know, you are just bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So like, you know, it's just, you're not multitasking. You're doing one or the other and you're just switching back and forth. But he says every time you switch, you have this delay where you remind your brain what you were doing. And that just adds time. So that I thought was also really interesting. I don't know. There's a lot that's going on in the book, or that he's talking about, that I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, but it's cool to learn the neuroscience behind things that you kind of sense or know in your own mind. All right, so I'm going to tuck. I'm going to get another one of these note paper sheets. I know I have a few more. So, where is it? It's like, oh, here it is. I just literally found it. Okay. Here we go. But yeah, so there's a lot in the book, about the brain and, you know, solutions to the problems, but he talks, what he's talking about, a lot of it is, yes, there's a personal responsibility solution to the problem, whereas you can fix your own attention, but you will be fighting constantly to maintain your attention in a world that is doing everything possible to take your attention. So that we may need to consider like systemic changes, I think, is ultimately going to be his point. Just like how we can all recycle, but as long as companies are still mowing down the rainforest, we're going to have problems, you know? Like, personal responsibility can only get us so far. And, you know, he is not against personal responsibility. Of course, he recommends doing everything possible to improve your own self, you know, but that's the answer is not that every single person has to go to these extreme measures to improve their own attention. It's that we're going to probably have to do something about the attention economy. So, and I don't know, you know, what his solutions are going to be. I have read another book by him. I do know he is a proponent of universal basic income. And so that may be something that's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if it showed up, but I'm not at that part yet. I'm still in the causes, because he was in the beginning of the book, he's like, what's the cause of this lack of focus? You know, and he's like, everyone wants to blame social media, but is that the actual answer? And so far we're on cause number 6, and we're just now getting to tech. So, you know, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And one of the things is just the invention of the light bulb has had this really you know, this knock-on effect in making people sleep deprived, and you know, that's compounded by electronics, but it goes back to, you know, the light bulb. So because the light bulb interferes with sleep. Because one of the other things that I learned from the book is you know how they always tell you to turn off all your lights at X number of, turn it off all your tech and lights and whatever, X number of hours before you want to go to bed? Well, this book talks about the reason why. And it's this sundown effect, where when the sky starts to get dark because the sun is going down, we have an evolutionary trait where we get a burst of energy. And the purpose of this is so that if you're out in the woods hunting or gathering or whatever, you know, you can get back to camp / town, whatever, while there's still light and finish up what you need to do before it's dark and you can't see anymore, right? Well, so when the lights go out, right, that's when you get a burst of energy. So if you just turn out your lights when you're going to bed, that is the first time your body will experience sundown effect. And so then they talked about stuff. So that's when you'll get a burst of energy, right when you're trying to sleep. So, you know, it's all just that there's a lot of stuff like that in the book. That is what's really fascinating is, you know, there's stuff that we kind of know, like we know that doctors say that you need to turn the lights off at, you know, however many hours before bed. I think it's like, I think you're supposed to turn tech off and not look at any blue light for 3 hours, I think, before bed. So nothing with a screen. I think is what it is, 3 hours, something like that. So but it's not just telling you stuff that like doctors have been saying for years and we've just been ignoring anyway, but more like this is why doctors are telling you that you need to. And then he talks about caffeine, and he talks about how the way caffeine works is it binds to an adrenal receptor in your brain that's responsible for telling you that you're tired. So caffeine does not give you real energy. Gretchen says, what are you supposed to do for 3 hours without any blue light? Well, a quick and easy way around it is to get blue light blocking glasses. And then you can just look at your phone. So I do know, Gretchen, that when I used my, when I was really good about turning off electronics, you guys remember when I was doing that experiment? When I was really good about turning off electronics, it was very easy to fall asleep. And what I did is I read on my Kindle Paperwhite, or I have an Oasis, but it's the same thing. It doesn't have blue light. It has, so this class is ruining our sleep by being so late on the East Coast. It is. It is. Actually, I'm part of the anti-attention agenda. I'm sorry you guys had to find out this way, but the truth is out there now. And so the Kindle Paperwhite and the Kindle Oasis, they have lighting that goes across the screen. So it goes from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. Or actually, I think it might go from the bottom to the top. So the light is not blue light shining in your eyes. It's not, you know. And that did help me. That is something that, you know, that's a study of one, anecdotal evidence, but I did fall asleep very quickly when I was really good about doing that. When I was really good about turning off the TV and turning off the phone, putting everything down, and only reading on the Kindle, that made a big difference in my ability to fall asleep quickly. Is the Kindle safer? The difference with the Kindle is on your phone, okay? When you hold your phone, the light is inside the screen, shining at your eyes. So the light is beaming into your face, okay? So that's what happens when you hold a phone. When you hold a Kindle like this, okay? And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but the lights are down here. Okay? The lights are down here. And so they shine up across the glass. So the light is not shining in your face. And it's a warm light. Well, mine, see how mine is kind of gray? You can even make it, see, I have this, it says current theme bed. This is my bedtime theme. So that's why it looks dark to you. Okay. But it doesn't have to look this dark. It can look like this. All right. But this is, the way it's set is just, I'll only have just enough on my Kindle for me to read it. I don't like it to be super bright like this unless I'm outside in the sun, and it kind of has to be bright like this. You can also make it warm. So mine looks gray again because the light's not bright. Look at that, Kathryn's 4th Kindle Oasis. That's how many of these, see how warm it is? So yeah, amber, Melanie. So amber you can wear amber glasses, and that'll block all of the counterproductive light in the room with you. And that is actually something that is recommended to people who have really extreme insomnia and a lot of trouble falling asleep, is amber glasses. Amber lenses and glasses. So, but I think it's just you need the orange to cancel out the blue. So. And when I had my glasses done the last time, I had blue light block put in all of my lenses. And so everything I see has a slight amber tint. But it's not too bad. I can still craft and do things like that. But I do know when I take my glasses off, and actually I don't even know if you could see if there's any difference in the color of like how this appears like here versus through the lens. It's very subtle. But if you have the Kindle Fire, then it's just the same as a phone. I don't know about the Kindle. I just know that the Paperwhite and the Oasis are safer. Not safer, less disruptive, let's say. Anyway, okay, so we got that done. Now we're gonna cut this one out. But I am curious if they would make, I wonder if they do make like amber screen protectors or things like that. I do know that my phone has a nighttime setting where it will turn the screen amber at 10 p.m. So if I'm still using it at 10 p.m., it uses more amber light than blue light. But I don't trust that completely. So it's better just to not be on it, of course. Especially because the device is stimulating for other reasons, right? It's not only stimulating because of the light, it's stimulating because of everything you're doing on it. All right, so I'm going to skip this envelope. Maybe we'll use it somewhere else. We still have lots of album to do. But yeah, so there's a lot in the book that you may find interesting. Okay. All right, so those are done. So now we're going to work on this. Okay. And then let's see what we have in terms of scraps from stuff we've already used today, because maybe all right. Well, I can stick that back on here, but it's not quite long enough. We're still missing that piece that's right here. That's what was cut out. So so how we want to get around that, I don't know. I mean, I could just cut another piece of paper, but I just don't want to. So I'm going to have to, though. I'm going to have to. Anyway, it's not about, it's more like, if you think this is a problem in your life, this book may have some explanations for why you feel the way you feel, as well as some possible solutions to regain your attention. But just kind of go into it knowing that it's going to be constant work on your end, because the way the world is and the way information is delivered, that's all just totally fundamentally different now than it was, you know, in 100 years ago or whatever. Even 30 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to cut this to 6 1/4 by 8 5/8. And then what I might do is come back over here and stick these back together. Okay, so what I'm thinking is maybe what we'll do is cut this out and stick it on the bottom of the page as a cute little scene. All right, so I'm just going to cover this whole thing in tape and we'll stick it up. Well, and they talk about, like, he talks about the, you know, if you've heard the phrase, the media is the message, okay? So, and which is a phrase that was coined by a neuroscientist or behavioral psychologist who was studying the television and the effects of television on society. And he talks about how every medium has its own message. Like that the actual way that you're getting the information is part of the information. So like you experience a book differently than you experience a movie. That's just how it is, right? So he's talking about how the medium is the message applies to Facebook. Facebook is the medium. What's the message of the medium, right? So like, what is it that Facebook is telling you? What is Facebook rewarding you for? You know, and it's Instagram. What does Instagram tell you? What is Instagram rewarding you for? Perfect photos, you know, idealized life, etc. There's a reward system built into each of these things, you know, that affects your, or can affect your behavior. And a lot of these companies have spent tons and tons of money hiring scientists to get them, to help them figure out the best ways to manipulate human behavior. And one of the people interviewed in the book, his job at Google was figuring out how best to manipulate people into using Gmail specifically, I think. How to open Gmail more. They wanted people to open the Gmail app more times a day. How do we get them to do that? That sort of thing. I think he invented the vibrating notification. Stuff like that. Hey, Marcel's in the recycling bin again. Did you find another treasure? You got another treasure, buddy? Are you stuck? Nope, you got it? All right, you're good. So that's also something that I thought was interesting, is that not just social media has a message in general where it's the medium is the message, but each app has its own individual message that it's pushing. Now, can you use them for other ways than that? Sure. You know that, you know, I have a Facebook group to give you notifications about the show and what's going on with the show, and sometimes cat pictures and things like that. You know, so yes, can you use social media for things other than what the people who made the social media want you to use it for? Yes, but just, again, understand that you're fighting them every step of the way, you know. that that's not what they want, and they are working hard and spending tons of money to get you to use it the way that they want it. And that's why, you know, Facebook for a while there was just all like stuff that was making people furious and not stuff from your friends, you know, your actual friends. It was just all like weird controversial stuff because people were more likely to click on controversial stuff. Hey, give me this. Oh, man, he loves the recycling bin. How am I gonna turn, what am I gonna do about this recycling bin issue? Marcel, where are you taking all these papers? He just wants me to chase him, doesn't he? That's really what it is. I'm not going to fall for it, Marcel. You're trying to manipulate my behavior. What do you work for, Google? Okay, there we go. That's cute. That's very, very, very cute. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. This is Dreaming of Sugarplums. From Paper Phenomenon. It's so cute. Well, there's a story in the book about hey buddy, hey. All right, come on. Can I, oh, just. Marcel, what are you doing, huh? What are you doing? What can I do for you? How can I help? He just wants to eat the paper. Do you think it's okay if he eats the paper? Hey. Why are you being such a maniac, huh? Where? He's gone again. He ran off with another piece of paper. I'm going to get downstairs and there's going to be like my entire recycling bin contents all over the floor. Marcel, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you being crazy? Yeah. Are you being crazy? Oh, see, he thinks the game is keep the paper away from Kathryn. That's the game. That's the game. Give me this. No, this is for me. This is for me. You're so wild. You're so wild. Okay. I don't know what are we doing? What are we doing? We're gonna have to get a special, I don't know what I'm gonna have to get something up here that'll entertain him. Because he obviously wants to be up here, but the problem is he wants attention, clearly. So he needs something to occupy his mind. All right, so we're going to stick this to the large insert. Okay, and then we just need to put something on the back because we already did the inside. And maybe this is where I finally use this glitter paper. I think that would look really pretty on the green, actually. So let's go ahead and do that. Marcel, what you doing, Marcel? What you doing on the floor? Being weird. On the floor, being weird on the floor. Being weird on the floor. Yeah. His favorite toy is the Smarty Cat. But Marcel thinks Smarty Cats grow on trees or something. Because he's already destroyed one Smarty Cat. So what's up, nerd? Hey. 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 You got the zoomies. Zoomy, zoom, zoom, zooms. All right, so we're going to put this in. All right. That's pretty. I like this on the green so much. What a nice color. What a nice combination, the gold and the green. Come on up. Go ahead. Thank you for bringing me this. Good job, Marcel. Good job, buddy. Good job. No. No, it's mine. 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 Yeah. There you go. Yes. Boop. Yes. Who's there? Who do you see? Who do you see? What do you see? What you looking at? What do you think? No? You don't like it anymore? Oh, he sees himself on my monitor. Oh, how funny. Okay. Okay, don't look at that. Let me get rid of that for you, buddy. Huh? Let me get rid of that. No, no, don't pounce on it. Please don't pounce on it. There you go. It's gone. Bad kitty is gone. Bad kitty is gone. Marcel, 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 Marcel. Marcel, Marcel, Marcel. So he's now sniffing the monitor looking for the other cat that disappeared. So oh, he's so tired. He's panting. You're so sleepy, buddy. You're so sleepy. Hey, don't play with that. You only have one eye. You got to be careful. Yeah, I do wish he was sleepy. Yeah, this is a sleepy kitty. Yeah, this is a sleepy kitty. There we go. Good job, buddy. Good job. Okay. Guess where he's going? Back in the recycling bin. It's just... Oh, why? Oh, goodness gracious. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can show you, if I can get it so you can see him. There. He's on, just leaping in and out of the recycling bin. Okay, kid. He's very handsome. He's very handsome, and he looks a lot like Kitty. Oh! Knocked over the recycling bin. He's going to be big, too. His feet, especially his back feet, are almost the same size as Kitty's back feet. So I think he's going to be he's going to be a really big cat like Kitty is. So he's going to be lots of trouble. Lots of trouble. He's had some challenges, but they are not slowing him down. Not at all. Okay. So now we've got these two. I don't know. I mean, he looks pretty tabby, and he's starting to turn brown. Like a two-toned tabby, kind of like Kitty herself is. So... yeah. So, Kitty doesn't... I mean, well... Yeah, Kitty's just really just a tabby. Just a... come here, buddy. So, I don't know. I think he's just an American short hair. Alright, hold on. Let's see if we can get him on camera going into the thing. Oh, he was gonna, like, Spider-Man. Oh! Once again, fail. Once again, fail. Yeah. You're being weird, huh? You're being weird. I know you're sleepy. I can tell. You're fighting it. He's like a toddler, you know, where they're like so exhausted, but they keep catching themselves because they want to be awake. Okay. All right. Let's get some backs for these. And yeah, I meant to do that. That's right. Let's get one of the solids, or hey, silly beans. Yeah, you are full of beans. I'm going to use this kind of rosy grayish one. It's like a pinkish beige, grayish. And we're just going to cut, I'm going to cut it into a 12 by 12. And then I'm going to cut, Marcel, you're making this difficult again. I'm going to cut it into a 12 by 12 so we could do the 5 by 7 pinwheel. You're such a spicy gentleman. Huh? You're very spicy right now. Remember earlier this afternoon when I said you're at an 11, you need to be at a 6? Hi. Hi. Hey, cutie. Yeah, he's slowing down. Slowing down. Tiring himself out. So, one thing he has picked up from Kitty is calling when he wants attention. But the interesting thing is Kitty will call, and she expects humans to answer. She expects anyone within listening distance to come, but mostly she expects me. And she brings me these little soccer balls we got the cats. They're foam and they're cat sized and they can kick them around. But I think it's not that that's her favorite toy. I think she thinks that's my favorite toy, which is why she calls it when she brings that at night, and she calls at night when she knows I'm the only one up. That's what she brings, because she thinks that's my favorite toy. So Marcel Now, Kitty called Marcel to her last night, and I could tell she just wanted Marcel. There was something different about it. It was more like, when she calls me, she has the soccer ball in her mouth, so it sounds one way, but this sounded like her mouth was open, and he just ran right over there, and then the two of them play tag. So, earlier today, Kitty went outside on the back porch, and Marcel saw her out there, and he cannot get through. Barbara Jean says, if I sleep better at night because I turned my devices warm, I'm going to blame you and also say thank you. Very few people probably want to sleep worse, right? Hey, cutie. So he's winding down. He's just resting over on the other desk. He's done being spicy. Yeah, so he and Kitty are getting along so well. More better. More than I thought possible. Better than I thought possible. I really just thought Kitty just hates all cats. So she's definitely decided that she's going to show him the ropes and teach him how to cat. So it's super cute. Look at you being so sweet. Just being so calm and sleepy. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, don't touch me. I'm not sleepy. What are you saying about me? Oh, he's now trying to get back in the recycling bin. Oh! Well, it was a controlled fall. Hi. He made it, though. Now he's rummaging around there. He needs a... That's what the Smarty Cat is. The Smarty Cat is actually a battery-operated toy that waves a wand around for him. So when I'm tired of his shenanigans at night, especially, I'll just turn on the Smarty Cat. But like I said, Marcel is kind of hard on Smarty Cats, and we're already on our second Smarty Cat. And this must be a common problem because you can put Smarty Cats on subscribe and save at Amazon. So we are not the only household where they're going through Smarty Cats. At an alarming rate. Oop! Marcel, don't give yourself a concussion, please. Back in the recycling bin. Back in the recycling bin. I just threw some paper scraps on top of him. He probably liked it. Okay. So we've got the backs. Now we just need the fronts. Gotta find something cute. Cute, cute, cute. Cute, cute, cute. Cute, cute. Oh. What's up, dude? What's up? I'm just looking for some paper. Something maybe a little bit. Okay. Is that big enough? Okay, we've got that scrap's big enough. That scrap's big enough. I think the Foster place put him on like Pet Finder. And that's how they found him. Okay. Marcel. Okay. Liz and Damien, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut these to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and we'll use the bottom part of this one and the top part of this one. Got that. And that. All right, Beautimus, 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 Beautimus. Okay. Now, we'll just tape, ink, chomp. You know the drill, and then this page will be done. Hi, Anne. Welcome. Thank you. I'm glad the album's looking beautiful. We've had a helper this evening. I always said I wanted a Sue scrapper, so maybe that's what we'll get out of Marcel. Yeah, he's falling asleep on my floor right now, so we may get some peace. Marcelito. But he's, I mean, he's doing so well, really. Yeah, I think I'm going to get 5 minutes apiece. That's probably about all I deserve. But he really is doing really well. So, you know, at least he, you know, ended up with some people that are going to tolerate his craziness. And it's so funny because we told the foster, you know, about Kitty and how she hates cats, and we gave this whole big thing about, yeah, Marcel is the new kit. We have the new kitten, Marcel, and he is just at an 11, 24/7. He may jump back up on the desk so that you can see him, but we'll see. He has brown eye. His eye is brown, and I don't think I've ever seen a cat with a brown eye before. Ow. But yeah, but if you don't know who Marcel the Shell with shoes on is, that's who he's named after. After the show, type it into YouTube and check him out. My sister and I saw the movie, and it's so, so precious. So. And he's been jumping in and out of the recycling bin all night, pulling out scraps of paper. So that's his new game. Okay, we finished this page, everyone. Look at that. Look how delicious. Ah, what a yummy looking page. What a yummy looking page. All right, so here's this page. So we've got Meowie Christmas. We've got our tags. Then these are photo mats. Letters to Stanta. Stanta? Letters to Stanta. And then look at that. That's that little scene we cut out earlier. I was going to do this envelope, but I don't think we need it. So I think we are done officially with the backs of the pages. Now, are we done with the album? No, not even close. Not even close. Okay, so we are, to recap what we've done so far and what we still have to do is we have done the outside matting on these green, the shorter pages. And the reason we did that is just so that we could coordinate these with these, because we only had so many of the papers for these. So we still have to do the insides of these and the undersides of the tabs, and figure out what we're going to do as an insert in the backs. Then we have to coordinate these flaps with whatever we end up doing back there, as well as this is a folder, so we need to come up with some inserts for this, and I do want them to be different than the inserts we used back here. Same with this. I want the inserts that's going to go in the back of the pockets of these to be different than like these tags. Okay, so we're going to have to come up with some new inserts, but you know, that'll be fun. So that's still to do. So we got to decorate the insides of these, come up with inserts for the back, inserts for the front. Of course, we have to mat these and finish their flaps. But, you know, this is what we've got so far. See how nice and stuffed and fun they look? So there's plenty of space for everything you want to do. Now, we talked about using this as your December chronicle, and that because of the large pockets, it works very well for that. and you don't have to do the like photo a day format or activity a day format. And there's Tiny Cat. We turned a photo of Tiny Cat into a watercolor in Photoshop so it would look like it was from the collection. These two watercolor cats were in the collection. This is Marcel and this is Kitty. Okay, because Kitty's a tabby and she's a chonky girl. Marcel's also a tabby and this cat isn't a tabby, but you know, we'll just let it go. And then there's Tiny Cat, actual Tiny Cat as a watercolor to coordinate. So we've got all three cats. There, look how beautiful this is the bumper pocket. If you're watching in the archives or on YouTube, there is tutorial video on how to make the bumper pocket. So if you want to make one, you can, because it did turn out really cool. And then here's the pocket we just did today. So yeah, here's the one from today. So we've done some really cool stuff today. I think I'm gonna end it just a little bit early. It's 10:41 and I don't know how much I'm gonna get done in 19 minutes. And also I have a passed out sleepy baby that I'm gonna have to take care of because I'm the nighttime nurse, because I'm the only one up. But I am so happy with how this album is turning out. It's looking so cool. I mean, watercolor Tiny Cat is awesome. This uses both the 8.5 by 11 and 12 by 12 Dreaming of Sugarplums from Paper Phenomenon. The 8.5 by 11 is what we used to cover the fronts and backs of these, because the 8.5 by 11 journal pages cut in half fit perfectly on the front and the back. So these are 5.5 by 8.5. So they're half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So we just took those journal sheets and cut them in half and used them this way. So that's a great use for the 8.5 by 11 collection. You could make an album that was all just these if you wanted to, and just get the 8.5 by 11. Or, you know, we're mixing the 12 by 12 in with the 8.5 by 11. So I did get both collections. Okay. Now, Kathleen asked about this tab. I don't know what to do about this tab because it's such a small space, because if you look at it, you know, it's also not connected to this because there's an 1/8 inch gap there. So I don't know what to do. We basically would be putting like a 3/8 inch sliver of pattern paper here, but it wouldn't be connected to this pattern paper. So I don't know what to do. I don't love the way it looks naked, but I don't know if we can improve upon it. So maybe that's something to... Maybe the gold glitter. That's a good idea. Let's see really quickly if we can do something with the gold glitter. You're not quite big enough. All right. Okay, so earlier we determined that the tabs are what? 3 5/8. Is that right? So let's just see if we can fill that in, maybe, because like I said, I don't love the naked tab, but I haven't quite figured out a solution. Let's try the gold glitter. So I'm going to punch at 3 5/8 and on the edge. Oh yeah, maybe. Let's do, we'll make 2 just in case we can. Okay. Now, I just want to measure these tabs because I think the tabs might be themselves 3 3/8. Yeah, so the tabs are about 3/8. So we need a 1/4 inch only of these tabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line this up with one of the lines on my mat. And then I'm going to line my ruler up with the 1/4 inch. And I have to be a little careful with this because it's a little bit slippery. All right. So let's just see how we like that. Actually, that's not bad. I don't mind that at all because there's so much gold in all of the pages. It just kind of blends with everything else we've got going on. So let's just go ahead and do the gold glitter. Good job, Kathleen. You solved the problem. And a 1/4 inch is correct. There's only the front and back of this one. This is the only naked tab. All the other tabs I've been able to cover. So like you can see here, I was able to bring the paper up. This one I couldn't because this flap is blocking it. That's why I couldn't bring the paper up. So that's why that one is the way that it is. Okay. So yeah, this is the only one like this. But I'm just going to turn this so I can more easily use the okay. And then I'm just going to burnish really well. And hopefully that'll work. Glue would probably have been the better way to go, but I had already taped it, so here we are. So, all right, so that's the back, and now we'll do the front. Alrighty, perfect. So now when you're flipping through, it won't look like you missed a tab. All right, so that is solved. And let's flip back to that page in the book. So there is how it looks in a spread. All right, so now you can see tab, tab, tab. So all the tabs will be covered when you're looking at it from the front or the back. From the front, we've only covered the one tab, so you can't really see it. But from the back, you can see how now all the tabs look covered. So there we go. You just need a little 1/4 inch sliver, and you're in great shape. Okay, wonderful. Look at this beautiful, beautiful page that we finished today. I love how layered and fun this album looks, because even when it's just spread out, like all the different layers and colors and things that we've got in here. Very happy with how this is turning out. Still have quite a bit of work to do, but I'm having fun, and it's looking great. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. My name is Kathryn. This is Kathryn Scraps Live, and this is the Christmas in July album. If you're watching this video on YouTube or in the archives, just know that there are other videos teaching you how to do every step of this book. This is just the one page from the decorating, the matting, and all of it, and how to turn your cat into a watercolor if you so desire. So there you go. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm live Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. There is a time zone converter in every video on my channel at this point pretty much. So just click the link, just click below in the description to see when I'll be live where you are. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool, and I will see you next time. Bye now. Hey Marcel, do you want to do one last goodbye? No, he's out. He's out. Let's sleeping cats lie. Let's sleeping cats lie. Let's just ask him for trouble. Good night, everyone. Bye now.